Hello, everybody, and welcome to the final podcast before fantasy football playoffs here. I think there are three of us who are locked into the playoffs, and Adam, you are. I think you're out of it. Are you still in the playoff hunt?
I am way out of the
Okay,
playoff
I
hunt.
didn't think so. Anthony held up a 4, so I
Oh,
I
I
thought.
actually held up a 5. Sorry, but I thought you meant the total number of teams. I didn't realize you
All right,
meant
yeah, yeah, yeah.
those
There
present. Sorry.
there are 5 total. So let's actually you guys go around, introduce yourselves, and we can get to where what the standings are and who's still in the hunt.
I'm Jordan, one of the usual guests on this podcast.
Yeah, Anthony, I'm same thing. No, I'm here. Number one bench. Hopefully, one of the bye winners. We'll see.
And then we have our guest.
Yep, I'm Adam. I'm also known as No Pants for Life, and I have the distinction of having 17 draft picks this year that all busted.
Oh.
So that's the feather in my cap for right now. So
It's impressive. It honestly is, because going into the season, I saw your running back core and I was like scared of it. So I don't know what happened, man. I'm sorry.
like right after the draft, I was sitting there like thinking I stole something. I'm like, I can't believe they let me get away with having this team.
We thought you had the best team.
Yeah, I would say every time we got on a podcast, I was like, you guys need to watch out for Adam. We need to watch out for Adam. He's gonna crush us all.
And then just the dominoes just boom, and one after another, and I got nothing. There's just nothing. I don't know if I had I mean, auto pick would have been better. Obviously, if I had tried to pick a worse team, I don't think I could have.
I don't know if you can be that hard on yourself. Like some of it, I mean, there's a lot of bad luck with the injuries.
That's what I'm saying. I would have accidentally picked someone who was healthy and could, at least be in the lineup, right?
Yeah, I guess.
I think if you go through like all of us with most of or a lot of your top picks, we would have stole that guy if you didn't pick him. Like McCaffrey, you had to go McCaffrey number 1.
I was
right?
the second pick.
Like,
I would have picked McCaffrey.
I would have picked McCaffrey if he would have dropped to me at like 8 or whatever I was at. I'm sure everyone else would have taken him too.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. What are you gonna do?
This is not what we necessarily were going to talk about, but let's just go through round 1 and who actually performed like a round 1 pick or was healthy enough to. How's that? Number 1, Christian McCaffrey, been battling injuries all year.
Nope.
Dalvin Cook, who's been pretty good.
I would say yes.
Few injuries.
I would say I'm pretty satisfied with how Dalvin Cook's performing.
Derrick Henry single-handedly carried me the first half of the season before he ran for 100 yards on a broken foot.
He's still the third top rusher in the league, by the way.
I mean, like as much as I was disappointed when he got hurt, it was like, you know what, you've done all you can. What else? What more can I ask? It's my turn to carry the team. Zeke Elliott has been up and down. I think is a safe or fair description of his season.
Mm-hmm.
Aaron Jones has been solid.
He's missed some time.
Yeah,
all these guys have missed. All these guys have missed time.
Yeah, no one's been healthy all year. Devontae Adams, I think, was a 6 pick. He was out for at least 1 week, right?
With COVID, I think, right?
COVID.
Yeah.
Tyreek's been healthy all year, right? Or has he been out?
I don't think Tyreek's been himself though, because you got to remember the Chiefs went through that little skid at the beginning of the season.
That offense has struggled. Yeah,
they've won like a bunch in a row though, so like the Chiefs aren't dead or anything by any means.
Nick Stack of the Chiefs offense could do really well.
Heat up.
Yeah. After that, we had Eckler, who's been really good for you. I don't think has he missed any time?
I don't think so. I mean, besides his bye week, but Eckler's been solid.
Kittle, who's coming alive finally, although he was out for a long time.
He missed time.
Killed me last week.
Yeah. Saquon has been a shell of himself.
Yeah. Taylor's got to be.
Then I think the guy, the pick of the first round,
pick of the draft,
yeah.
Boy, well, the first round anyway.
Yeah, definitely the pick of the first round, but I think you could argue. And then Ridley, the 12th pick, which
he's been away from football.
What are you gonna do on that one too?
Yeah, so we got 3 or 4 guys in that first round that have been consistent all season or fairly consistent. So yeah, it was a tough year with injuries and whatever.
Yeah, I mean, even with COVID now, and I hear a bunch of teams like the whole Lions team apparently is like sick with the flu. That's what I've heard.
Yeah.
And all I hear are players getting sick with COVID or being close contacts. Like I know Keenan Allen and Mike Williams were close contacts or something like that, and they may or may not play. Those are two big weapons on a high-powered offense when they're going. I know I was lucky enough to get rid of Mike Williams before he kind of slowed down. I gave him the chip because he loved him.
Unfortunately, Swift, which I thought was an amazing pickup for you, has been hurt. Like he kind of
So
got the injury bug. So
his shoulder's messed up, and I actually fell down the stairs like last week, and also sprayed my shoulder. So I know what he's going through, and I'm not mad at him anymore. I know why he's not playing.
okay,
So
all
I
right.
can sympathize.
Jordan Augusta approved injury. You're fine. Yeah. Well, it's going to be an interesting final week. I know we got 5 teams locked in, but there's still a few teams that are alive, right?
Yeah,
we
for
got 3
sure.
or 4 teams.
Yeah, so right now on the screen, I am showing both divisions, and the people with asterisks have clinched. So we have number 1 bench, Anthony, C-Deck Run,
Right.
Chip, the Tim Allington
You can't see your
dealers,
screen.
Yeah, it's
myself.
not.
What's that?
We don't
It's
have
not
your screen.
shared.
Yeah, you guys aren't gonna have it. I can't do it on Discord and OBS. Actually, I guess I could.
No, that's fine. If
Yeah,
not,
we can.
oh,
All right. Okay, now it's on the screen.
okay.
Okay, so now I gotta find this tab.
Now I can see. Yeah, that was weird.
Can you see? All right.
We can see it, Jared.
I can't make both
There
you
it goes.
and OBS see it. But you guys are seeing this. You guys should be seeing it right now. So we have
Yep.
number 1 bench, Anthony, C-Deck Run, Chip, Tim Allington dealers, myself, the refrigerator, and Jordan, Mr. Rogers' neighborhood. Refrigerator, Nick. Sorry, I forgot who owned that team, even though it's been 2 years. All right, so yeah, those are the people who are in it, and then we have 5 people in the hunt: Sentinels, Depression, My Dig Kit in a Box, and Lions Kool-Aiders, I believe.
Well, never mind. I was gonna
Yeah,
do something.
technically there's 6. No, you're right. There's 5 teams. I'm sorry. Yeah.
I've
Yeah,
got
Ben?
4 because the Cubbies are 100+ points behind on the tiebreaker, so
Okay.
that would be a tough one.
Yeah,
Yep.
that would.
Theoretically
Well,
possible, but it's
Need a
that'd be
heck of a
tough.
week.
Improbable.
I scored 200 that one week, and we haven't done a podcast since. So this is my time to gloat about that.
Jordan got it.
I think 3 of my weeks I combined for almost 200, so that was
Woohoo!
I've been on a tear.
I
4
scored
game win
174
streak.
points and I lost in a week.
The chip, right?
Yeah.
That's tough.
Yeah, so it would be conceivable that 4 out of the 6 teams going to the playoffs come from Division 1.
And again, I've said this I think in the podcast a few times, and I keep saying it at work. The last, I think, 4, maybe 5 years, the 6th place team, the last seed, is the one that won the Super Bowl. So just to keep that in mind.
Yeah,
So,
and then
yeah.
Both times I won. I know when Chip won. I know when Jorge won. Those 4 times, a 6th seed team is the one that won. So even if you're just scrounging to get in, it doesn't mean you're out right away. There's a very good chance that team could make a good push.
Yeah, I mean that's all that matters, right? Just get in and then see what happens.
I think a lot of it, and I know last year it was the case, and I think it was with Chip and Jorge with their years. The reason they made it in is because their team was getting hot at the right time, and they just put a streak of 4 or 5 wins in a row into the playoffs to get into the playoffs, and they were just hot. So I think that's part of it. It's interesting to see what teams are doing well going to the playoffs and what teams are kind of limping in.
Yeah, I think Jeremy's got to have one of the hottest teams right now. It seems like every week I look and they put up like 150 points.
Second half of the season, my team has lit up, and
You are on a 4-game win streak, so
yeah, my running back situation went from dire to the duck that's like Donald Duck's uncle or whatever, diving into pools of money. I've had extra running. I've ran running back at flex for like 3 weeks in a row. I've been googling running backs like their historical matchups versus defenses. I've had too many running backs. So
I
that
will say,
yeah,
oh, go ahead. I'm sorry.
that is what I am attributing to my turnaround. That I made a couple moves and I got lucky with some pickups that really put me in the fight here because my first half of the season I was not doing well.
Yeah, James Conner to you is my biggest regret of the season.
Yeah,
I have
that
to
was
say.
a big win.
Yeah. Connor's been really strong since that trade.
Touchdown.
So when I'm looking at players to pick up right now, they're all taken and they're on two teams.
Mhm.
Either Adam has them or Jeremy has them.
Yep.
Those are the two teams that if there's guys I'm looking for on the waivers or they have a good game and I'm thinking, hey, this guy might be a good pickup, you two are the ones that have all the players I'm looking for.
I've got notifications going. The waiver wire has been where I live these past few months.
Yeah. No, you're doing a good job.
Every game day before bed, I go on there and I take a look and I look at the transaction trends and I do a peek at Reddit and see some reactions and honestly, just like paying attention to football and getting into it has helped me tremendously after
Welcome
winning
to the
one game
unhealthy
last year.
obsession of fantasy football.
Yep. Yeah. So
right.
let's get into some of the teams that are for contention here and the ways that they can squeeze into the playoffs.
Well, Adam, you want to roll with it?
Is that me? Okay. So I've got. I was noticing that actually every game this final week of the season it matters either for the last playoff spot or for a bye in the first round of the playoffs, which is really weird and strange. Like none of the top teams are playing each other, and none of the teams fighting for the last spot are playing each other. Everybody's kind of crossed up. So, if do you want to start at the top or the bottom? What do you guys think?
Let's go from the bottom up.
Okay.
I was going to
So,
Yeah, actually, let's do the top because I think that last playoff spot's what everyone probably is excited about.
Oh,
So
I
let's
thought
start
you
with
meant
boring
from like
stuff.
top of importance to least importance.
oh no, I'm at top of the standings to bottom of the standings.
All right.
Yeah,
Okay. Let's do that then.
Okay. So up top we got I got Anthony sitting at the 1 seed there in Division 1. First scenario is real easy, win and he's in with a bye. In terms of first seed, second seed, I'm not sure. I didn't work all that out. That's less important. I figure just getting the bye or not getting the bye is the important thing. So
I mean,
win.
no, everyone's welcome to come play fantasy football through my house. I'm good with the home field advantage if you want to do it. Come on out. But no, I don't. You're right. It doesn't matter.
But any one of you three, you or Jeremy or Chip could take the division and the bye, depending on what happens. So if Anthony loses, and Chip loses and Jeremy loses, then Anthony wins. Obviously, he's got the most wins so far. And then if Anthony loses, Chip loses, Jeremy wins, then it would be Anthony would need to have more points than Jeremy. It would be the total points. Anthony versus Jeremy. Yeah, and then it's very close right now. With all three of you guys are pretty close in there.
Mm-hmm.
And then same idea with Chip. If Chip wins and Jeremy loses, then you would have to have more points than Chip in order to get in. For Chip, it's similar. He needs Anthony to lose. Chip needs to win. Chip and Jeremy both need to win. If either one of you guys are going to get the bye, you both need Anthony to lose. And then for Chip, if Jeremy loses, then it's head-to-head points with Anthony. If all three of you guys win, or no, I'm sorry, if Chip and Jeremy both win, Anthony loses, then it would be a three-way points matchup between the three of you to see who gets the bye. So that would be fun.
If I had to put my money on one of those outcomes, I think it would be me. Like just based on the predictions and kind of the lineups here, I think the Kool-Aiders might beat Anthony. I think Chip's gonna beat you, and I think I might beat Ben. So in that case, Chip would get the bye, and it would be me versus somebody else. Anthony?
Well, no. If you beat Ben, and then if Chip beats me, but Anthony loses, then it's points.
All right, and then Chip.
And-
Yeah, Chip.
and I
has-
also noticed,
Chip's probably has
so,
more points.
and I should know this, right, being the commissioner, but I didn't. But I was reading too that there is, for the divisional championship, the division winning percent is also part of it.
Yeah, for division. Right?
That is. Oh, you know what? Did I?
Which I don't know.
No, I might. You know, I might have screwed it up. I might not have read it closely enough. Division
Well-
championship tie. Crap.
The only
Oh.
reason I remember that is because last year I made the playoffs and I had a lower points total than someone else.
For your division
All right,
wins
is this
for-
page helpful that
Oh,
I
that's
found
kinda
on
cool.
Yahoo.com?
I think I'm looking at the same page.
Okay, head-to-head regular season
Um,
tiebreakers in Yahoo Fantasy.
That's too much math for me.
I was
Yeah,
reading the
just-
wild card and I
no
stopped
way.
reading. So I think I screwed.
Oh.
There's
Yeah.
math
Well,
examples.
I still think it comes down to it's gonna be close.
Nobody has any ties in
It's-
win-loss.
So
Or,
if that's
points.
the case, if I lose this week, Jeremy still has a chance because Jeremy and I would have the same divisional record.
Correct.
But I'd have to score
Uh,
40 more points, which is a big ask.
Well,
I mean-
hey, have you seen my team and all
Yeah,
the
true,
injuries? I think I'm
true.
losing 2 more running backs this week
Oh,
from
no.
what my lineup is right now.
For me, it's Dalvin Cook is gonna play in like an hour, and that basically determines whether I get I get that buy or not. So I'm
So I think
anxious.
Adam, yeah, I think you're right. If Jeremy wins and I lose, then it's points and it's tight.
Yeah.
So this is
And then-
what decides the wild card. Total fantasy points scored in most recently completed matchup, and fantasy points scored in the matchup 2 weeks prior.
You're never
Yeah.
gonna get to either of those because there's no way with hundreds of a point that we're gonna have two teams.
That
with
would
the
be
exact same
crazy.
score.
You say that we had a tie, a head-to-head tie. When was that?
You're right, we did.
Was that 3 years ago or 4 years?
Yeah, we did. You're right. I forgot about that.
It was one passing yard would have set the difference
Oh
one way
my
or the other.
God.
It was-
What are
Well,
the
I
point
won-
totals at?
Last year I won by 3, or not last year, like last week or 2 weeks ago I won by 3 rushing yards.
That's crazy.
And that
So
is surprisingly not the tightest game we've ever had in this league.
Well, it
just
turns
a
out
little-
one was a tie.
that's a little hint at the record book conversation that'll be coming up a little later.
Okay. No spoilers.
For the
Okay,
points,
yeah.
if it comes down to points, Lions Kool-Aiders is gonna smash everybody else. He's 150 over everybody else at least.
Combined points.
Well,
got
yeah,
70
you're in the
about-
playoffs no matter what. I'm saying to
Yeah,
get
he's
into
talking
the
about
playoffs.
he's talking about the teams that are trying to get in the playoffs. Yeah,
Okay,
it's-
okay.
Yeah.
Now, an
Okay.
interesting thing I would like to do next year, or at least have a vote on, and sorry to interrupt this whole thing,
No, go for
is
it.
make that last spot, it doesn't matter your record, highest points. Meaning of the teams that aren't in. So you take the 5 teams that are in, take them out, and then put the rest of the teams together. Whoever has the most points, no matter the record, they get the last spot.
That's
I don't-
interesting.
Yeah, I was reading that this year on Twitter somewhere, and there's a few fantasy analysts that were proposing it. And to me, I thought, hey, that would be an interesting way of doing that because you see a team that got 1,600 points and he's in 9th place.
That sucks, yeah.
That's tough.
He's also on a 5-game lose streak. Like you
Well, fair enough.
yeah,
but
like the argument against that is if a team's been injured or if a team falls out and does worse, and the first half of their season is outweighing the second half of their season, you don't want someone who's hot, who's working towards it, to get locked out.
fair enough, and I guess that's why we have these conversations.
Yeah, I
Just
mean,
because-
literally, we should just vote for it and take whatever people want to do.
Yeah. So anyway, sorry, we'll let you get back to it, Adam. We were.
Okay, so for Division 2, this one I think is pretty straightforward. And I just got to make sure I got I'm looking at the tiebreakers right. So if Nick wins, he's got the bye, obviously. If both Nick and Jordan lose, then Nick's got the bye. And I think if Nick loses and Jordan wins,
I'd have the bye.
then
Yeah.
then Jordan has the bye. Either
Yep.
regardless whether it's points or the division, you would have
Yeah.
both.
Or if it goes to
So-
head to head, I've beaten him twice this year. So
1,800 points, man.
It's a big year.
and I'm only 8-5. Isn't that something?
That's pretty.
Well, and the
nuts.
crazy thing is, like, you don't even have the most points against either. Like, it's I'd say it's relatively average.
Yeah. It's kind of
So it's
low
just-
to be honest.
You just
Yeah, it's
have you
pretty
just had
low.
some weeks.
It's second lowest.
Yeah,
Is it
I just
really?
have
Jordan.
either really good weeks or
Yeah,
average weeks.
you're swinging.
And my highest scoring week came without my best receiver, Cooper Kupp. He was on a bye. So like I can only imagine I would have over 1,800 points and still an 8-5 record, which would be kind of, I don't know, kind of sad to look at.
Yeah.
Because I think my
All right,
team's doing
well-
so well, and then I'm just kind of.
I mean, I would
Alright.
trade you. I wouldn't be that sad to look at it. So.
No, I'm very happy with how this season went. I think I really hit on my wide receivers. I have the 2 top yardage guys in the league. So
Yeah, I might have to adjust my my running back heavy strategy going forward because
It's just so luck.
I keep getting
the
killed.
thing is, like, if you have like if you look at Chip's strategy with 7 or 8 running backs this year. Granted, a lot of them were backup running backs, but most of them had periods of time where they had value.
yeah, like Hubbard, he put whenever CMC got injured, I mean, he could fill in that gap right away and get an average like I don't know, like 12 points a game. And
yeah,
that's enough.
it's. I think it comes down to, are you confident in your ability to pick up wide receivers throughout the season? Because you know you're not getting running. I
Right.
mean, unless you're dumping stupid amounts of fab like I did for 2 guys that, well, Mitchell's been pretty good, but
Yeah.
for a guy that I dropped a week later in Adrian Peterson.
Chip was he also kept CD Lamb, so he had a very good receiver
True.
already, so that he could just spam the and he had a
Running back.
quarterback. He kept a quarterback and a receiver, so he could spam the running back position without having to worry as much about it, right?
He had
So,
a perfect draft spot for that too.
Yep.
Late first, early second, like his 2 running backs, I was very jealous of at the end of the draft.
Yeah, and I was
and
gonna
then
say,
he's-
who knew that Jonathan Taylor would be as explosive as he is?
I don't
so,
think anyone did. No,
He hit
I
on it.
mean,
Great.
Yeah.
Good for him.
I think it was a good draft spot for Jonathan Taylor. I think he did a good job with it. I'm just saying, that's a perfect spot for me. If you're drafting running backs, late first is always a good spot.
yeah, I mean, I would have taken Taylor there, but I wouldn't have thought I was getting what he's gotten, you know.
Right. No, I agree. Yeah.
Okay.
Well, I guess the exciting part of the
Yeah, now it gets crazy, and I'm more confident about this one because this one we found out just goes down to to overall points, right? Or did
Yeah.
we? Yes.
No, I think this is the wild card, and yes, I think this is total fantasy points. Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
Okay. So, so the we've got 3 6 and 7s, 2 5 and 8s, but one of the 5 and 8s I've been just saying yeah, there could be a miracle for the Cubbies, but I don't think that's likely. He's got to get 100 plus points over multiple players in front of him. So if he only had one guy to pass over, I think that would be possible. But to say that he's going to pop 200 over both AJ and Jorge, I think would be pretty monumental.
Mhm.
So if
Got
we
some
assume,
COVID on his team.
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. So if we assume that the Cubbies are out, then we've got Mike, right? Mike's the Kool-Aiders.
Yes, correct. Yep.
So Mike's got all those points, like you said. So if Mike wins and everybody else loses, then he's got the tiebreakers locked. So if Ben and Jorge and AJ all lose, and Mike wins, then Mike gets the last spot. So for Ben, if he wins and both Jorge and AJ lose, then he gets the spot. He's hard up on points. So again, it's possible he could he could outscore them by 100 points, but it's very unlikely.
Right.
So then we've got for AJ, if he wins and Jorge loses, then he's in. Or if he wins, Jorge wins and he's got more points because they're within 7. No, they're within 9 points of each other right now.
I mean, all he's got to do is put in Kittle and Gronk, and he'll be fine. Those two, like
12 touchdowns between the two of them.
The crazy tight end duo that's just becoming hot right at the right time.
Yep. Okay. So yeah, or if they both win, it's head to head on points, and then if AJ loses, and Jorge loses, and AJ loses, and Mike loses, then it goes down to head to head points, AJ versus Jorge again. So, and again, it's weird that all these things are possible, that nobody's playing each other. It's wild that the schedule fell this way. You would think that you would see 2 of the 6 and 7s would be playing each other, or there would be some combination, but there isn't. So it's wild.
Yeah,
For Jorge, for Jorge, it's similar to AJ, but in reverse. He needs a win and an AJ a loss, or a win with an AJ win and more points than AJ, or everybody loses and he's got more points than AJ. Basically, that's the
crazy thing about this year is I feel like it's as equally likely that either A, all the top teams beat the low teams, and all these guys that are trying to get in the playoffs, they all lose, or all these teams beat the higher seeded teams and they all win for nothing.
Yeah, this
And,
is
whoever's done.
extremely exciting. Literally anything is possible.
It's really awesome for the league that it's that interesting the last week.
Yep.
That's what you want. It shows that it's balanced. So
Yeah, the league. Well, we've had some stability in the league the past few years, so I feel like the competitive level is really, it's really come up, and it's the league is flattened out a lot, which is good.
totally.
So yeah, that's what I've got. Looks like on points, it looks like it's projected to be what? Who's projected here? I think it might be Mike is projected to take it, but I think Ben doesn't have a defense or something like that, so that might tip it.
Yeah.
Yeah, he doesn't have a defense, and if he puts one in, I don't know. Are there any defenses on waiver?
Yeah, there's defenses out there.
There's always a defense out there that can get you
Yeah.
6 points.
He's got
Yep.
Tennessee on the bench, so yeah, that's a good defense that he.
Yeah, he
doesn't have.
picked up Tennessee this week, so
Alright.
he'll be putting Tennessee in. Yeah.
Okay, so yeah, that's
It's insane that he's in this position at only scoring 1,300 points this year.
Yeah,
so
it's
far.
crazy.
He's had some bad luck. He's another team that's had some bad luck with injuries.
He was very dejected when he was on the podcast. He was like, this year sucks. But now he's like, could win. He could. I mean, if the tradition holds, will win. He's in prime position to win this year.
he
wants us.
he hasn't cracked 102 points in 7 weeks.
My God.
But he won 3 of those games.
Sounds like my team.
He's gonna win the league. He's gonna win the whole thing.
He kind of deserves to. That's crazy.
You know what? His team, when you start looking at it, I mean, his problem is Montgomery going to play? Because if Montgomery doesn't play, that's a big hit. And he's got a lot of
buys this
yeah,
week. Yeah.
It's a tough week for him. Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
that's bad.
He may have to do the double T tight end move. Someone to watch that I like on his team, AJ Dillon.
Yeah, I agree.
I think there's a very good possibility he could score as many points or more. He'd be the top running back on that team by the end of the year.
I tried to get AJ Dillon off of him about 3-4 weeks ago, and
Yeah.
I couldn't do it.
Yeah. He was not super high on him a few weeks ago.
No, that's why
That's
I sent him the. He was
Yeah.
on the podcast and he said I'll give him away for a ham sandwich or whatever he said. So I was like, okay, I'll give you 2 ham sandwiches.
And folks, that's number one reason why you should tune into these podcasts.
Yeah. People just bitching about guys that are perfectly fine they're just pissed at. I do it.
Garbage. Okay.
Chip
So-
Blasford, Derrick Henry.
Well, I was just saying, Chip earlier this year. Chip was complaining about Najee Harris, and I was like, dude, I will take him off your hand.
Whatever you need.
Yeah. What do you want?
I was offered Taylor at one point. I wish I would have taken him instead of Swift.
Ooh.
Oh,
I just
wow.
couldn't
Wait,
give up
what?
Daryl Patterson and Mike Wallace. That's my thing.
Pick against the Lions more often than not.
I would have had to give up a lot for
Swift had
Taylor.
a good season. Swift had a good season before that injury, though.
Yeah. And he might be better by playoff time. He might be able to help me throughout the playoffs.
If he
So-
takes whatever Dalvin Cook's taken, he
A
will
lot
be.
of Toradol. They offered me Toradol when I hurt my shoulder.
There's not even a questionable next to his name. He's ready to play.
All right, all right.
So
I don't know.
guys,
That might be worse for you though. You
I can't
you might
believe
just
that.
want him to be out.
I don't care who
Delvin?
plays. I mean, Madison can get just as many points.
Yeah,
Wait,
but if
you
they
got-
both play and one of them's dinged up, then you got to make a choice, and you maybe end up with a mid game. You know, somebody gets sat down, or they split the
Yeah.
carries, and that's not great for.
Yeah, that's like the worst situation for you, Jeremy.
Oh,
Yeah.
well, oh no, I had all these running backs. Well, I guess I got Connor in at flex. Maybe I should
I'd
play
put
neither.
Connor
of
at
them.
running back. Yeah, I'd put Connor at running back and then maybe Cook or someone else at flex.
What does that
Then he-
matter?
Yeah, I mean, there's still viable plays. He could go off for however many points,
True.
but there's also the there's risk
Are
involved.
we gonna talk him into benching his number one pick right here on the podcast?
I mean, let me
Delvin
see what.
Cook's garbage.
What if I
I'd
played
drop-
both of them?
Yeah, you'd be better off dropping him, having the empty bench.
Wait,
spot.
what if I don't want to screw around right now, and then the ball get kicked off and me get locked in? I'm just gonna exit out of that.
There was a
not-
point during the season where Chip and I were going to have both of our kickers
I'm
play
not-
each other.
I'm not gonna
For a
have an
game.
accident.
I did text Anthony and said, "Is it okay if Chip and I agree to have both of our kickers decide this game for us?" And Anthony said, "That's up to you." So
Yeah, I'm not gonna interfere. If you guys are gonna do stupid things like that, go for it.
I would have won that game.
I wholly and support people just throwing points away if you want to.
Yeah.
I got enough.
Go
Of
for it. Let me know how that goes for you. So if you guys had to pick a team to make that last spot, who would you take? You were putting money down.
Yahoo really wants me to sign up for hockey, so it made me say no.
Based on the matchups this week,
Here we go.
I am going to go. It's hard, but I think I'm gonna go with my Ditka in a box.
Is this who we think will win, or who we think will be most dangerous if they get in, or
Who do you think's most likely to get into the playoffs? Come out of this.
Or AJ. AJ could do it easily.
I think AJ's got the toughest matchup, I think, of
Yeah.
all those teams. I think Mike's very likely to beat me, but I don't think he's likely to have all three of the teams that are ahead of him lose. That's his problem.
I would say if I had to handicap it, I would say probably Jorge. I put in as the favorite, and I might put Mike in as the second favorite because I do think that all those other teams are either coin flips or slight underdogs.
Yeah.
And I do think that he's got a real good chance of beating your team this week, Anthony.
No,
Um,
I do too. I am limping in. I don't know
Plus,
if I'm gonna
his team
run-
is
Actually-
stacked up too, so it would be really interesting if Mike did make it in.
my second running back, because it sounds like Eli Mitchell's going to be out, and it also sounds like Henderson's going to be out. So my running backs might be Javonte Williams, who Gordon's coming back, and either Jonathan Foreman from Tennessee or Dontrell Hilliard from Tennessee. So
Yeah.
it's getting, I'm scraping the bottom of the barrel here. And
This is
actually,
my
I may have to start both of them because I don't have any other wide receivers. Everyone's either suspended for being a COVID idiot or on bye.
I've been holding Jeff Wilson for like 11 weeks, and now is my moment to start him
Really?
so he can.
And then he snapped his knee, didn't he?
He's
I heard
also
Hasty's
limited
really-
with a knee injury, but then they also say he's the front runner to start.
Oh,
It's
I
gonna
thought it was gonna be
be.
Hasty this week. Okay.
I mean, there's probably gonna be a lot of hasty. It's gonna be 3 or 4 guys all have 2.5 points apiece, so it's not.
You've
Gonna
held Wilson for a while because I was like, I've got a guy that could fall apart at any minute. I should look at his backup. Oh, Adams got him. Okay, never mind.
Before my whole team fell apart, I was looking for guys that were on long-term IR, so I wouldn't have to like flip them back and forth every week.
Yeah.
And he was a guy that I picked up and was like, well, San Francisco running backs go down. 3 of them go down every game, so I'll give that a shot. And
Team's got such bad luck with running backs.
yeah, and then
Look, the
he's
past
back
3
and he
years-
hasn't done anything.
So I'm really hoping I can get this bye because week 16 I'm gonna have Michael Carter, AJ Brown, and potentially Antonio Brown all coming back from long-term injuries and or suspensions. That's if Antonio Brown doesn't get dropped.
I was gonna say I wouldn't bet the farm on AB coming back.
Well, I shouldn't have to because if AJ Brown comes back, I've got Hopkins, Deontay Johnson, and AJ Brown. So those will be
Yeah.
my 3 wide receivers.
Yeah.
But
He might have a talk with the FBI after he gets off of his suspension, so he might be out of the out of
swear to God.
circulation.
and yes, this is Antonio Brown the first 6 weeks of the season. My God.
Has Antonio Brown played a game of football in the past few years? Like how many? He doesn't play very often, does he?
But when he does, go to the games logs. Go to the game
Jesus
logs.
Christ.
Yeah.
Okay, never mind. I get it.
No, I think Antonio Brown and who's the guy that? Oh man, he's been suspended 87 times.
This is
Someone
so
picked.
stupid.
Did you pick him up, Jordan, this year?
Oh, Josh Gordon.
Josh Gordon. Josh Gordon and Antonio Brown might be the same guy. Have we ever seen them both in the same room?
It's true.
Yeah.
Josh Gordon's on Kansas City, right?
Yes, he is.
So-
Okay. Well, I guess one thing I just was looking at the other day was the record book this year, just to kind of see, what's going on, who's excelled this year. And there was a few interesting ones that piqued my interest. And of course, I didn't highlight them, so I'm going to be winging this as we go.
TJ Hawkinson looks like a goofball in that photo.
He doesn't look great. Rank 78.
okay.
That's insane.
So a few of them, the smallest margin of victory this year, Jordan over Nick with 0.22 points, which is, what is that, 2.2? Is that 2.2 yards?
2.2 rushing yards.
Yes, 2 or receiving yards.
Or how many
Oh, one.
passing yards?
I don't
Like
want
15 passing yards or something like that.
Yeah, well, I think 25 yards is 1 point, so it'd be like
Oh, that's right. Okay.
4 or 5 yards.
or a field
Coincidentally,
point.
coincidentally, that is not the smallest margin of victory all time.
What is Anthony?
Back in 2019, Marine City Cubbies over Chip won by 0.06 points.
You couldn't wait to bring that one up.
It has nothing to do with no. I just that shocked me that there was a game that was that close.
Yeah, that is nuts.
I felt pain for Chip all over again 2 years later when I saw that. I was like, how do you lose by 0.06 points and maintain any sense of sanity? I don't know.
Just holding your phone in the morning, just staring at it.
Yeah,
in
crying.
disbelief.
Yeah,
No,
sitting in the shower
no.
just crying.
Like there's got to be a stat correction. This can't be real. There's got to be.
A
Someone
stiff breeze would have changed that score. That's less than a yard. It's what, half a yard?
Yeah,
6
some
tenths of a
quarterback
yard.
at the end of a game and stuff, and that ruined it for him.
What was the other one? Let's see. I think it was team points. Oh, okay. Single week most points this year. Jordan versus Brendan, 201.6 points
Without Cooper Cup.
without Cooper Cup. Doesn't matter. It is what it is. Not the highest number of points in a game ever in our league.
Are you kidding me? How is that not the highest?
2019 Week 8, Nobel Peace Prize against a Sunday Drive. Jeremy, does that team sound familiar?
Jeremy's not here right now, but those teams do sound familiar.
That was Jeremy. That was myself against Jeremy. 205 points, still the all-time highest. You're welcome.
Funny.
But you had a heck of a game. I will tell you that was a heck of a game. And I saw that when I woke up the night in the morning and saw that, I was like, holy crap.
I texted Chip. I'm like, I think I could break 200 today. And then I texted him, I don't think it's going to happen. And then I looked at it at like 1 in the morning, and Chip responded to me like he always does when I text him about fantasy at 1 in the morning. And he's like, yeah, that's crazy.
That's actually an auto response. He's got a little shortcut button for that.
Angry
Single week least points this year. Sorry, Adam. It's No Pants for Life, 71 points. 71.04 points.
How many of the top spots do I have though is the question. Do I have more?
It doesn't show that, unfortunately. But it is not the lowest number of points all time in our league. Single week all time lowest number of points was Inept Butt Slappers versus, coincidentally, the Big Lebowski back in 2017. 39.3 points. I believe there was a defense that has scored more points than that team scored.
That was I feel like there were people there were like bye weeks that didn't get subbed or something like that. That wasn't a full healthy lineup. If memory
probably
serves.
wasn't, but still, that's
bad. But it's not like my full healthy roster that danced to a 71. That's what was hang on. I was projected for some ridiculous number in that game too. I think I was projected for like 130 points or 140 points.
This doesn't keep track of like combined points in a game, but I feel like the game you and I had was it week 1?
No, it was week 3.
Week 3? That's got to be pretty close to lowest.
159.
That was my combined score.
Yeah. We didn't crack 160 in that game. That's why I said I texted you. I texted Anthony and I was like, neither one of us deserve a win this time. We should both take it. We should just call this a tie or we both get a loss because this is embarrassing and neither one of us should get to have a win after this.
And of course, I was like, we earned every yard this week. This was a great win.
Really grinded it out. Chip just texted me. His ears must have been burning.
Yeah.
He says, I can't believe AJ's making playoffs as of right now.
Yeah, he's got a good shot. I just got a few more of these guys, and then we'll be done. Picking points most in a single week. We actually have 2 teams that are tied for this right now. Lions Kool-Aiders and No Pants for Life with 21 points.
For a kicker?
Which is pretty good for a kicker.
But it's really good for a kicker.
But it's not the highest all time.
What is that?
Highest all time back in 2017, week 4. Backyard Disaster. Chip going up against Ben. His kicker scored 27 points.
That's a lot of points.
Was that Cairo Santos by chance?
Hold on. Let me see if I don't know if I'm gonna.
He had like a 7 field goal game, and I can't remember if that. Okay.
It was. I don't know. Because I clicked on a link and it took me to a game of chips, but it's not the right one. Yeah, I don't know. I'm not sure who the kicker. I probably could find it, but it's going to take a while.
Okay. Yeah, I think it might have been because he had that 7, or either that or Baronis was the other one. Santos and Baronis both had ridiculous 7 or 8 field goal days back a few years ago. I don't remember which one was which though.
Okay. We also have 3 teams this year that have gotten 0 points from a kicker on a week. Which I feel like that's a lot.
I would cry.
I don't know.
Defensive points most. Number 1 bench going up against Tim Allington Dealers.
It's got to be the Bills.
28 points. I believe it was New England.
Was it the New England defense?
I believe it was. Yeah, I had New England on week 11.
Oh,
yeah.
No, I thought
New England's been balling.
My Bills had some big games.
I
had a 22.
But
and a 23.
That's not the highest all time.
What is Anthony?
Back in 2019, Anthony's tattoo, Chip, going up against the Sunday Drive. Boy, this
Okay.
team really has bad
The
luck.
tattoo.
Anthony's tattoo had 37 points from his defense.
That's a lot
yeah.
of points.
That's a lot of points. And then also defensive points. We've had 2 teams this year to get -4 points from their defense in a week. So
Who's that,
that's
Anthony?
that was you, and it was Chip.
Oh.
Coincidentally, Chip was when he was playing against you.
When did I do it? Who's I got going up?
You were playing against me.
Oh, of course.
When my defense put up 28 points, you
yeah,
put up
I felt
-4.
sad
So
that
was a 32-point swing.
Yep.
And that's really all I had. I just found those were interesting ones that are like kind of ridiculous statistics, and come to find out they're not the most ridiculous we've had in those particular.
I got one just off the cuff for see if you can figure it out. So I looked at my my 71-point week, and I got 13 points out of my kicker that week. So that's
that's unfortunate.
That is an
really lucky.
18.3% of my total score came from my kicker. So I'm curious if that's a high.
Oh man, that's And the rest of the statistics I'm looking at, nothing that really like stands out. Yeah, that's it. So, and the team with the most medals is Chip right now, 27 of the 58
boy.
medals.
I don't even know what that means. The medals.
Yeah.
I don't know
What are some of the cool medals that he has?
Well, here's one. Go long. You started a player with 100 receiving yards in 4 different weeks during the season.
How many does he have?
27 of these.
I got 25. I'm in second.
Yeah. These aren't really something I don't think anyone really pays attention to. It's just
I didn't know these were here.
3 weeks. 3 weeks you led your league in touchdowns. Just stuff like that. So
Oh,
been quite a year, guys.
Anthony, that was a good topic. I like the research.
Yeah.
Thank you. I watch that record book a lot. I just look at it just to see what's going on. It's always interesting to see like that, and like going back to like the player list and seeing like the players that are in the top 25 that no one would have thought were at the beginning of the season. That is also something I enjoy. Like for instance, the number 1 player in scoring this year is actually not a quarterback right now. It's a running back. Jonathan Taylor, which is very unusual for it not to be a quarterback.
Right.
But number 2 is also not a quarterback. Who? Anyone have any ideas on who might be the number 2 high scoring player in the league?
Cooper Kupp.
Yep, Cooper Kupp.
My man.
And then number 3 is a quarterback. Any guesses?
Jalen Hurts.
Adam?
It's got to be Jalen Hurts.
No, is it Mahomes?
It's the GOAT.
Oh,
Tom Brady?
Tom Brady is the number 1
What?
quarterback and the number 3 scoring player in the league.
And AJ has him and Justin Herbert.
And Herbert is number 4.
That's crazy.
Yeah, he has the 3 and number 4 players in the league.
Wow.
Too bad
and
AJ.
I almost kept Justin Herbert with my 17th rounder. Instead, I took Antonio Gibson.
Oh, I would have taken
Anyone
that
would have
every
taken-
day of the week.
You know what, Adam? I still think that was the right call. I know Gibson hasn't done what you wanted this year, but I still think it was.
Well,
the right call.
and I got Kyler in the 5th round, and that's quarterback isn't why I'm here, right? It's everything. It's every other position that's why I'm here.
Kyler with the 5th was amazing. Like, I was so upset at myself when you drafted Kyler. I was like, how did I miss that?
Yeah,
Well, and then I offered him. I said you could
You did.
you could have him for the low price of I don't even know what I would have charged you for him, but you were like, no, I'm not interested at all. So
I did. You know what? If my team was Knicks, if I had that kind of a team, starters or Jordan, I'd consider it. Like, just go all in for the win. I'm just not. To me, it's like I don't want to sacrifice next year for a chance when my team's hot garbage most weeks. I told you this earlier today. I'm in my position not because of how good I am, but how the teams I played have played down to my level. That's the only reason I am where I am. I'm lucky. I'll vote for myself as luckiest team in the league this year. It's been. I certainly don't have the best team.
Anthony, I disagree with you because if you looked at the Washington Sentinels or whatever, they scored 1,300 points and they're still 6-7 with a playoff hope. And it's hard to do that, I think.
Yeah, that's actually impressive.
You haven't scored 102 points in 7 weeks, and you still have a chance at the playoffs.
Well, I think that maybe there's been a lot of it this year. I don't know. Like, there's been a lot of injuries, so maybe that's part of it. You know, there's when you look at the scoring, like the last week there was what 2-3 teams that broke 130, and then everyone else was like 100. The injuries have really hurt everyone this year. I think it's really showing. The scores early in the season, we were seeing 170s, 180s, 201. Like, you know, if you weren't putting up 150, you weren't doing anything early in the season. And with all the injuries, the talent is just not there right now in the NFL, or it's spread out more. I don't know. I don't know. You know.
Yeah, I mean, look at it this way, right? So week 1, the 1 week I had before my team completely fell apart, I beat Mike 143 to 140.
Yeah. Oh God.
And if he had won that week, he'd be sitting pretty right now. He'd still be 6-7, but he'd have all the tiebreakers on points, and it would be. And you're in.
You're absolutely right. So 1 point could be what cost him the playoffs.
Well, 3 points, but
Or 3. Okay, 3 points.
Yeah.
I mean, it goes to show you every game and every point it can be profound. I mean, that's
losing
why
a
I
week
was
where
so
you hang
upset.
140, man. Oof.
That's why I was so upset when I lost the chip with the 174 points. That really hurt, and it was like this is gonna cost me. Luckily, it hasn't, but it was like, man, how do you that one win could be enough between a bye and not making the playoffs.
Yeah, I was gonna say it might cost you the number 1 seed, Anthony.
Yeah, it could.
70 points, and same thing might happen to the refrigerator. I beat him by point whatever or whatever, and it might. If I win and he loses, it might cost him a bye, and that can be huge, especially when there's these lower teams can just go off at any given moment. I think that's a bye is very valuable this year, especially.
I remember when Chip won, he and I played in the finals, and I think he was 5th and I was 6th seed. Or I'm sorry, I was 5th and he was 6th. And we won our first week, and then we each played the teams that had the byes, and we somehow beat them. And then we got in the finals, and Chip beat me like 120 to 110. And the 3rd and 4th place teams were like 165 to 150 or something. It was crazy. And it's like, man, how does that stuff happen? But any team can win any week, you know?
Yeah. I had this is like the, you remember the all-time bad beats. This was 10, 12 years ago. I lost 1 week because Deshaun Jackson dropped the ball on the 1 yard line. If you guys remember that play, whenever that was, 2009 or whatever.
I remember that.
And so that was, middle of the season. I had him on my team. I lost by 4 points because I would have had the extra, and then I missed the playoffs on tiebreakers. And then every week in the playoffs, I had the high score for the whole league.
That's awful. Email Deshaun and be like,
the guy dropping the ball on the 1 yard line cost me the championship in a cash league too. So
you could send a mean tweet to Deshaun Jackson.
No, I hate that guy. He's been on my list ever since.
He's got more important things to worry about, I think.
Yeah, he doesn't care about me, but
he's
still stewing.
Thanks, Jeremy. You're really making Adam feel better. Good job.
I'm still stewing about that all the years and years later. I will never forgive him for that.
Adam will be sitting in a old folks home with a walker, and he'll come across Deshaun Jackson and just start swinging a cane for 50 years. You bastard! You costed me back in 2020.
The things that could have been if only I had won that fantasy.
My life would have been completely changed with that extra $100.
It all would have gone different.
Yep.
You win the lottery the next day.
I would have put it in Bitcoin, and then
Oh man, that's brutal.
Butterfly effect. Can't do nothing about it.
Yep.
Oh well. Well, I think this was a good episode. Thanks for all your work on that, Adam.
Thank you,
Thanks.
Adam.
Appreciate
It'll be
it.
Appreciate
interesting to
problem.
see how it all plays out.
Yep.
We'll
Yeah.
have to.
All right.
We'll have to do at least one more in the playoffs.
Absolutely.
So,
Yeah, I think there's going to be a lot of reactions after next week, and I think literally, how many people could win? Like 8 people could technically.
maybe we do that. Maybe we do an open podcast. Whoever wants to come on, and we'll just do little predictions for the playoffs.
I know Chip's have a lot to say.
Yeah, we'll get Chip on. We'll see if Ben wants to get on, Nick or Jorge or any of the other guys.
Have an open.
Yeah, just open. We'll just all hang out and talk some smack before the playoffs.
Yeah,
And
I
the
mean,
toilet
literally
bowl.
10 people could still win.
So
It's
Cool.
it's a crazy season, and it's all to play for still. And I think some people are already starting to invest in next season, which really keeps everybody interested in winning the toilet bowl and getting the best draft picks. And I see some people even trading like draft picks just to try and push on a little bit farther this season and cover some more injuries. So it's very interesting to see what people are kind of like thinking, like if they put together a team that they can win a championship with this year and not and don't think they're going to get a better team next year. So it's very interesting to see if people are investing in the future. I don't know yet. I think this is the closest I have been by a lot, and I want to try and win this year really bad.
could have had Murray.
Yep.
No, it's been a lot of fun. I'm glad we didn't get on the podcast too much this year, unfortunately, but I think that the league was definitely competitive, and like I said, just to see how the playoffs fall. Adam, one last question for you while we got you on the podcast. Let's say hypothetically you win the toilet bowl. What spot are you going to pick next year?
1, Christian McCaffrey.
No, I have to see if I want to put the hex on Jonathan Taylor or if there's someone else.
Yeah,
I'd have to see who's getting kept because a lot of these guys might this year. It's
There
like
was a
every
lot of
other year,
talent.
right?
yeah, there was a lot of talent out there this year. Yeah,
So I might take a later, middle or a later pick this year just to see. But yeah, it's something I got to change up my strategy somehow because whatever I'm doing ain't working. So
well, I don't know. I didn't necessarily mean that to say that. You had a lot. It's been a lot of bad luck.
yeah,
I just
I
look
don't
at,
think
like,
I have a whole
first-
lot of shot at winning the toilet bowl either. So but it's a fun hypothetical to see if. Yeah, I would
Well-
have to see. I would have to see who got kept and what it looked like. It might be a situation where a bunch of people get kept and there's only one guy left, right? And then I might want the first again to get that one guy.
right.
But yeah, well, we'd have to see.
I think if I had the choice, I think I'd be late. I'd be like mid to late, like 7, 8, 9-ish. I think I always like that spot. That would be my. How about you, Jordan?
Considering who I have, I think probably late because depending on who I'm keeping, I don't want to give too much away, but I'm probably keeping 2 wide receivers this year. And those are probably going to be in like the mid rounds, and I kind of want that like back to back kind of thing in the first couple rounds, just so I can get a couple running backs while they're still there. Because you can't pick up running backs during the season. I mean, you can. I got lucky with Cordero Patterson because he's a running back and wide receiver, so I can kind of.
Cordell Patterson before this year, like, didn't do anything.
And I just happened to pick him up early in
Yeah,
the.
he was a flash in the pan, and boy,
Yeah.
he took off. Yeah.
So it just depends. I think it depends on keepers a lot. I mean, it's hard not to go number 1. You want that top guy, but you don't know who that top guy is going to be. They could get injured halfway through the season, like McCaffrey or like Derrick Henry, who hasn't played in 4 weeks or whatever. And then the top guy is the 11th pick before you know it. So it's hard to say. I think it depends on who's being kept, and you don't know that until later.
Yeah. Yeah, I've almost in my head I've considered, like, is it worth trading away a top 5 pick and try to get like a late first round and then a 3rd round or something like that? If someone's willing to trade up like that, or trade your first and get like a a second and a third for it,
Yeah.
just because you're spreading out that risk a little bit.
Mhm.
But at the same time, there's something to be said about at some point you want elite players in your team.
Yeah.
Because if you're not getting that top level, the points from those positions, it's kind of like, want two guys that are putting up 13 points a week or whatever. They have one guy that's put up 20. So
Yeah. Cooper Cup,
it's
even weeks where he doesn't score a touchdown, like 17 points is a bad week for him.
right.
It's
Yeah.
very tough where I have to keep him with a third round pick, which I don't really want to do, but it's hard to not go against like the second highest fantasy scorer. I mean, just stuff like that, but I don't know. You need the elites and you got to get your guy, I think.
Yeah. And like, it's like I stumbled on Derrick Henry. It certainly wasn't like anything I did fancy to get him, but that guy was like putting up stupid points. Like it was like the easy button for my team the first 5 or 6 weeks of the season.
Right.
So it's like it's almost like having an extra starter on your team with the amount of points those guys can put up. So
Sure.
but, okay, well, it's always interesting to get different perspectives on it because I mean, there's certainly no science to it. I think it's all luck, or most of it's luck.
There's a little
Never
bit
know.
here and there with dealings, but I think luck definitely plays. I mean, from what we can do personally, I think luck plays a big part of it.
It's all
Yeah.
mental. 99% mental. That's what fantasy football is, folks. I don't know. But to me, like, honestly, a big part is negotiating with people and, like, brokering deals or, like, even hinting at things. Like, planting. Like, there are definitely a lot of ways
Jeremy's
you can
playing-
get creative
Oh.
with. What'd you say, Jordan?
Playing mind games with all of us and we don't even know it.
I mean, suggesting trades to people and like even like there's a lot of strategery to fantasy football in the social aspect. It's as much
Here
a
we
social
all-
it's as much a social game as it is like a math dependent game, in my opinion.
Here we are all playing checkers, and Jeremy's playing 8D chess.
Yeah, 36 dimensional virtual reality metaverse
Yeah.
based. I actually only use the Yahoo Fantasy app in virtual reality. So I'm immersed fully in fantasy football. So that's a pro tip for everybody out there. Get a VR headset and load yourself into fantasy football.
Yahoo.
Give your soul to
I would
Mark
probably-
Zuckerberg.
I would probably injure myself if I were to plug the thing in and be like, "Oh God,
I broke my
my
elbow.
knee."
You just
My
tangle the
shoulder.
cords. You dislocate your shoulder playing fantasy football.
Put my hand through the window or something like that. You know?
I irritated my previously dislocated shoulder playing fake racing video games on my computer. So games are dangerous, folks.
I don't know if I'd go around telling people that, but
It's hey, I challenge you. There's a warning when you turn it on. It says, "Do not allow your children to be near this," because
I'd probably pop a kneecap out.
it'll rip their arms right off. Well, with that bright illustration, folks, thank you very much for watching. Any parting wishes for our viewers, folks?
I think we've gone well off the rails here, so I got nothing else to say.
Good luck to all the teams that still have hope.
I
Usually,
had a
I'll
couple.
get
of
you next year.
times.
usually have some sort of bet, but I didn't really think about that this week.
Some sort of bet.
Yeah, like a FanDuel thing.
Well, I tell you, last time we recorded, I said I was going to place a bet. I did place that bet. I lost that bet, and I also lost $25 other dollars that I had sprinkled on games throughout the league. So I will not be doing any betting. I've been cut off in the betting space.
That is something actually maybe in the real playoffs. Maybe we can talk about it next week if we get on the podcast. I'd like to set up maybe some FanDuel, like a little FanDuel league for anyone that wants to do something in the playoffs.
I would like that. That would be cool.
So
Raiders plus 8.5 against the Chiefs. That's my bet.
what was it? I'm sorry.
Raiders plus 8.5 against the Chiefs.
Who do you
Ooh,
think is
that's
going to
pretty good.
score the points on that 8.5, Jordan? If you had to choose between a certain wide receiver and a certain
Deshaun Jackson.
He's gonna drop off the one. I
He's
don't know.
only going to score you 7.5.
Raiders always play the Chiefs hard, so to give him 8.5 is a lot.
Maybe I play both of them. Are you playing mind games with me now, Jordan? Try and get me to play my good friend Hunter?
Mr. Renfro.
Mr. Renfro.
Renfro's been super consistent. I don't know why you wouldn't play him.
Well, now I'm benching James Conner.
No.
Who do I play? I've got too many good players.
Yeah, you got too many. Yeah, I don't know. It's a really tough situation you find yourself in.
Yeah,
Jeremy.
man.
I really feel bad for you.
It's tough when you think you're gonna get the bye week, when it's looking like it. Hearing about man, I don't want to give away when we're recording this, but I need to go watch football soon, folks. I think
right, well,
we're gonna end it
We've
there.
been going for a while, so everyone have a good night.
Happy Christmas if we don't
Yep.
come on.
And to all a good New Year.
Thanks, guys. Been a
Thank
pleasure.
you.
Happy Hanukkah.
As
I think it
always.
just ended yesterday.